Hey guys, here is the gear for today, same as yesterday. Doing another Austere August shave. We're in the beginning of the August month, and my shirt kind of blends in with this blue index card and kind of with the paint of the room here. We are traveling and visiting relatives, enjoying that, and the brush is continuing to be the B35 from Zenith with a special color and embossing here for the Reddit group Wet Shaving that we all band together and got that design done. And you and your group can do the same thing. Contact a lot of hardware providers, brushes, Zenith, things like that, and you can have your stuff done in a custom way as well. The Timeless Open Comb 68 stainless steel is the razor I'm using. It is handling the Nacet blade very well at this age, probably better than about anything I've tried. This is got the markings there of the Nacet. You can even see, if I hold the glistening just right, the bend right there in the blade that it got, maybe at about use 225 or something like that. Need to look that up just to be sure. I used to have it memorized because I said it so much. We have 502 uses on the blade so far. You can go to sugardaddy-shaves.com if you have questions about that. The habits I do about how to keep a blade life going. It's really simple. Just my belief so far is that it's a really wet lather and really light touch with the razor, good low angle of the blade, just simple stuff like that to try to decrease wear on the blade is my guess as to what's going on. I don't have a microscope, and so I don't know exactly. The ring of death continues to get bigger with the Midnight Stag here, even though I only loaded 12 seconds the last time. And this is the soap and the splash and the frag for today's shave. This is the original tallow base that Chiseled Face has put out for several years. Let's load the razor. And so I always put, just for grins, I started this from the beginning and I have kept that going with the exception of one shave. I always put the markings toward the handle of the razor. And it kind of proves that you don't really need to be super conscientious about flipping a blade to get long life. It probably proves that. Because if I can get 502 shaves out of it and continuing, then if you generally get 20 shaves out of a blade, then trying to religiously flip them every time or something like that. Even on my other blades where I'm just keeping it at low levels, and keep it at the kind of the peak sharpness, I just kind of randomly pull them out of the package and put them on the razor. I don't keep track at all about the sides of the blade or anything like that. We've had the brush soaking for several minutes while we got our stuff ready, and I'm going to get my face all wet. Then we'll load the brush. We'll do a slurry lather again today. I'm having fun doing that lately. Makes for a fast shave, and it's fun to kind of refine that technique a little bit. So I have been having great success with the slurry lather method lately with pretty much any soap I try it on, especially this Chiseled Face kind of OG base. It just works really well with that. It's what jumped out at me at first as I was developing this type of lathering. It started out as a curiosity, and I'll have another video later on where I document it in good form. But I've said most of the things already, just scattered around in different videos. But right now we've got a lot of water in the brush, so it doesn't drip just on random stuff. I'm going to put this bowl underneath it. But you can see how it's got a lot of water in there. I'm going to shake it because I want to get out when I go to work lightly on my face for pass number one, whatever water would kind of spill out and on my shirt, that's what I want to shake out right now. And I believe I'm at that point. So it didn't take too much shaking. You can still feel quite a bit of water in there. And the soap just definitely has some residual wetness from previous day's shave. And so, you know what? Let's just do 8 seconds of loading. Since the soap is wet, that probably means it's going to pick up really easy off the soap and onto the brush. Let's try 8 seconds. Right. When is a good time to start? Right there. 1, 2, and then go to the 6 mark on the next minute. And there we go. Let's do another second because I think I stopped 1 second too soon. We've got some small drips there, you know, because we did have a lot of water in there. And so that's one thing I'm going to work on is the how much water to still have in the brush, because the idea here in the first pass is we're going to take that brush that doesn't look like it has too much soap on it, work it on my skin, and we're going to stop before it gets mature. It's just going to look kind of light. It's going to be super wet, but there's going to be enough soap floating around in it to make it really slick. Is my hope. Yep, see it's already starting to bubble up there. It'll be clear for the first swipes, you know. Now that water is mixing with the soap. Now if I were to do this for a while, sure, I'd get a lather. But by stopping now, I'm keeping a lot of raw material still in my brush. And that's handy for future passes. We're not going to run out of lather like a lot of the face lathers do. That they'll work it for a while in the beginning and add water to the brush and things like that. Or actually, you know what's fair to say? They usually, if they start out with a brush this wet, then they usually don't have to add too much water to it. And so now we're ready to go. I did get my face and stubble wet before the shave, so it was softening up. So we didn't spend too much time working the lather in. So this isn't really a method for everyone. This is a method for those who need to shave quickly in the mornings. If you don't like to bowl lather and you like to face lather, you know, this might be a good one for you. This is very comfortable, not really any tugging at all. At this age, the blade definitely likes it when I shave in 24-hour gaps. It doesn't like it if I shave every other day. It lets me know with a light tugging. It'll get the job done, but it just gives me a light tugging feel. And then we can keep it very easy going like that on the first pass. And then just splash some water on my face. I just started today documenting some bullet points of my slurry lather method. And one of the big points is this likely may be a method that guys have used without thinking about it for centuries. Decades at least, because it's almost a natural kind of way to do it. Pick up a cup of soap, take a wet brush, work at it for a little bit, throw that on your face for a little while. Let's go with that. Instead of trying to mature the lather like some of us shave nerds do and get into a really nice emulsion, all creamy and stuff. Now that's great. I am definitely one to say that's great. But in terms of a fast shave, and a face lathering type shave that I might enjoy if I needed to face lather, then you now have that first slurry lather on there, and why not shave with it? Because after all, it is very slick. And I'm going to add another bullet point to that, if I can remember. I hope I do. That, and it's important to, when you're splashing that water on your face, use that as a diagnostic moment, because every time I've done it, when I've done a proper slurry lather, I feel the slickness. And that one pass did not wash away. I mean, that one little kind of, a few splashes of water didn't wash away the soap in its entirety. I've still got a lot of slickness on my face there. And that's just proof that even though you don't have a mature lather, even though it doesn't look very thick on your face, there's still a good bit of soap in there that's doing a good job for you. So now, do the same thing. If you don't want to get your shirt as wet, I guess I could hold my brush under my bowl under my brush here. Now, as we go, we're spending more time, and you can see the lather develop. So you can do more normal things like kind of rolling off the side and things like that. But it's still a super wet lather, and there we go. I mean, that's just tremendous. We've still got plenty around here. At this stage, if you can see the kind of texture there, obviously we have those bubbles right here that you can see, but if you look at the lumps, they have some micro bubbles in there, and so it's still not a mature lather yet. It's still very kind of, it would be airy, but there's too much water for it just to be airy. And so it's still quite loose and wet, very wet. But that's the key, is all that water. It's still interacting with the soap. So let's shave with the second pass going cross grain. And there we go. I'm getting a little irritation. I wonder if my skin's kind of getting... I haven't shaved in a while before I started this August here. Splash of water. And again, we use that as a diagnostic tool. If, especially on that first pass, if I go to do a couple of splashes of water and it feels like it rinsed all that soap away and you're just feeling the squeaky clean of your face, then you haven't done the slurry lather right. All right. So again, third pass now. We still have not tapped out the water that was in the brush. The water that I'm leaving on my face after each rinse is probably helping the brush not to lose its water too quickly. And so here I am on the third pass. I've got a nice workable lather here. Oh, you know what? Why my face might be having a little bit of irritation is that this brush is very strong in the backbone department. It's not nearly as soft as brushes I've used with the Nacet in the past. And the face lathering method here, although it feels very slick and everything, I don't know. I'm gonna have to ponder that. Now, you know, one of the big questions I have is, once you get a soap to this level, how many shaves can you get out of it? Still quite a bit, I'm sure. And we loaded only for 8 seconds. And there are guys who load for such a long time. They use 2 grams potentially of soap per shave, and I use on average, when I've refined everything a little bit, 0.4, 0.5 grams per shave. And I've still got plenty more lather in the brush there. So this is a method if you're tired of running out of lather on your third pass, if you're a face latherer. Then maybe this method could be of help to you. Light touch, as always. If you're trying to marathon a blade, don't fall into the trap of trying to apply more pressure to get the job done, because your blade is maybe you're at 80 uses or 60 uses or something like that, and I've definitely had reports from guys who are trying to get to 100, and they get it, they do it, and they switch back to a sharp blade and they cut themselves because they have changed their technique because of the blade. They press down more to make the blade work. And where I choose not to do that, I choose to increase the number of passes, change the direction, that sort of thing. Sometimes pushing a blade a long ways to where you have to learn the hair growth of your face even more to get the best shave. Sometimes it's very educational. And then it can make if let's say you switch back from trying to go a long way with a blade, switch back to maybe 15 uses per blade or something like that. Even if you choose to go back to a normal 5 to 8 uses per blade, sometimes that can still help your shaves to be better because you've learned more about your growth and the most effective angles to use, because it was out of necessity, because you needed to maximize your technique to make up for the blade's loss in top level shaving ability. Also, another principle I think that could be involved in this is the fact that you don't really need to rinse your face completely between passes. What I like, and some people don't even put any water on at all between passes, but that is a minority. But I just kind of splash a little bit of water. I'm not trying to get all the soap off. Why not keep it there? That soap that has kind of worked its way into your skin to protect you, why not leave that there between passes? So I'm just basically splashing away some of the stubble. I'm also enjoying the coolness of the water to reduce inflammation, to kind of refresh me, that sort of thing. Couple of splashes and on to the next pass. Fourth pass, I think. And we're not showing any signs of quitting with this lather. We've still got plenty. 8 seconds of loading. Now, I'm not going to pull this soap off of the shelf having not been used for a year and do 8 seconds and have it be this much. This is consecutive use, and you can scale down your load time if you use a soap consecutively. All right, this will be the last pass, I think. Oh yeah, see, I can feel how there's just not really any stubble there. I'm crunching up my lips and chin up to tighten the skin in this area. Very good. That'll be interesting to see. I just haven't experienced any irritation like this? Could it be just the difference in the brush, the boar brush? It's definitely not the brush that I used last year during Austere August. All this kit was the same except for the brush. It was a boar brush, but it was a very plush. Smoke Owners Club has lots of loft, and so it's got easy splay, and it's very kind to your face. These bristles here, these tips are very soft, but because of the diameter of the knot and the loft here is a lot shorter in ratio than the Smoke Owners Club, then it's got a lot more backbone. All right. And so that really could be the difference. I also could have put on some suntan lotion or bug spray today during my activities, and that could have changed chemistry or something like that. I'm not real sure. I'll keep an eye on it. You definitely, if you get a good bit of irritation, if you're a beginner shaver, then definitely back off on your shaving if you possibly can. If you get some cuts in a certain area, the neck is a problem area for so many guys, then back off. Skip shaving it for a day, let it heal, come back to it later. I also continue to recommend, if you have a little bit of inflammation or razor burn or brush burn, that sort of thing during your shave, try cool water rinses between passes. If you are using a product, Scuttle or whatever, that has hot lather or warm lather, that heat causes things to expand. Heat then would cause your skin surface to expand. That's called inflammation. And so we want to reduce that. And so cooler room temperature lather and cool splashes between passes, very soothing, and they can really help with irritation if you do have that. So I'm pretty sure I did 4 or 5 passes, and we've still got plenty of lather in the brush there. If I kind of mix up what's there in my bowl for just a little bit, you can just see how much we have. And so the slurry lather method, by letting your lather mature slowly in the brush, you're kind of keeping those raw materials. The brush is not having to use all of its space to hold the finished lather. It can use less space to hold, and this is just kind of the way I'm thinking. It's just a theory. The way it works is because it takes less space to hold the raw materials, and then the little bit of work that you do each time with a pass, it causes those raw materials to be woken up and used and turned into a slick something for you, a slick lather. And so I've been loving so far the performance that it has given me on the different soaps I've tried it with. And it's time for the Midnight Stag Splash. And when I bought Midnight Stag, a few years ago, several years ago now, I guess, the first time I got it from either Maggard or their website, or the Chiseled Face website, it had a black background, and it was white stag, and so that was kind of the opposite of what I'm using now. This one was the iteration before that. So this is an older not a formulation, but an older design. The menthol is stinging me a good bit here in the alcohol. And it's such a pity, because the menthol, it just kills the character of the Midnight Stag. I wish it didn't have the menthol. And so, if you really want the character of the Stag, then save up your money and think about buying the cologne, because this doesn't have the menthol in it. Nothing to get in the way. Oh, and all the different pieces that, I think his name's Ron, that is Chiseled Face. All the different pieces of the scent that he wanted to bring to the table come out. a roasty wood kind of thing. The gasoline. Oh man, gasoline in such a good way, like a mechanic shop kind of feel, but outdoorsy and woodsy and leathery. It's just all such good things. And the menthol is just not there to get in the way. My little girl today smelled me after I'd shaved the previous night, and she could still smell it on me, but it wasn't repulsive. I'm like, yeah, it's great. Because sometimes when I just spray the cologne on or just finish shaving in the daytime, like last year, and I'd walk amongst my family, they'd do things like that. Very good. Clean up some gear now. I didn't really have access to a brush cleaning, a brush drying mechanism before to help these boar brush tips to split. And I am experiencing and noticing some shorter bristles around the edges. And so it does seem like tips are breaking off. Now, is that because the hair dryer is some kind of mechanism that is causing the tips to be split in a weak way? Is it because I'm a little too vigorous when I'm cleaning it and things like that? That could be true. Is that just always going to happen? Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask around, see what people think. But I definitely like the effect that the hairdryer has on the tips and the fact that it turns the boar friendlier much quicker. I'm going to go treat it right now. Just drop it on the towel first, and then a little gentle, always gentle, never harsh, hairdryer treatment. And then here's what it looks like after the hairdryer treatment. This particular dryer here had actually a diffuser mechanism that almost looks like it expands out, and it has these little nodes that have holes on the end of them. And so I was able to take those little nodes, and where a person would normally work them in their hair, and I actually work them amongst the bristles here with the boar. And so I used warm and low speed, so the bristles are still still have a good bit of wetness to them. And so this is definitely a more conservative approach. I figure I'd try that. You can see it definitely looks more puffy, and I'm liking the way the hairdryer is helping the brush. That's for sure. Little side note, as I was drying my bowl here, got with symmetrical pottery, and I think I told you guys, for you regular viewers, they were not able to make the bowl to my specifications. What came out was out of spec, and then after they said maybe we can't do it, they refunded my money. That's after me waiting 15 weeks or so. They were great in that they sent me in the information about the dimensions and photos and things to me before they shipped it to me, and that saved me from having to ship it back, if I was displeased. And so I'm glad they did that. And I was sad when they said they probably wouldn't be able to handle my specs. But then maybe about a week later, they got online and sent me a chat on the Etsy mechanism, on the Etsy page, and they said, hey, actually, we're thinking that we might be able to do it, and so we'll try again with another batch of bowls that we're putting in the system, in the kiln and all that stuff. And we'll send you the information once we're all done, and if it is to your specs, then you can buy it from us. We'll hold it for you, and we'll wait for your payment, that kind of thing. And but if it doesn't work out, it's okay. We'll just put it up in the general population to be sold. So we're gonna wait around and see. I was gonna go to some local potters or something like that to try to put feelers out, but now I'm choosing to wait again, maybe another 12, 15 weeks, and we'll see what happens. So I do like the looks of their work a lot, both in terms of function and in terms of just attractiveness. And so I hope that we can find a happy medium there. putting equipment away, drying razors, things like that. Now, I really do like the timeless razors. The quality and craftsmanship are top notch. I may not like the open comb for younger blades at all. It's just too aggressive for me, but that's great because some of you guys need more aggressive stuff than I like. But the 68 and the 95 both in the stainless steel and the 38 in the bronze are just terrific shavers for me across a great number of blades. And I enjoy that 68 closed comb is so smooth. I just enjoy it so much. And their design here is just wonderful. I normally carry my brushes around in these handy spiral screw type containers because they make it so they often have a hole on sometimes both ends. They are just perfectly sized for your brush. They can accommodate taller brushes, and they don't have kind of extra room to take up space in your kit. You know, you just pull them out like that, and they're good to go. And they work for so many of my brushes, but I do have a couple that are large in diameter, and this B35, which is a 31 millimeter diameter knot here, is such a big one that it barely fits down in this large medicine bottle. And someday I'm going to drill some holes in it to give ventilation room. Because I finished shaving with this, it's got some water inside there, and not in heavy drops, but just in smallness, in small dampness. And so I am going to let this sit out overnight. But as I travel, you know, I'll drop it in here, and even so, there will still be a little bit of wetness left in it. So it's important if you travel, when you get there where you're going the next day, pull it out, give it some air. Well, there we go. Cleanup is done. Oh, I'm smelling good. Love this scent. It's bold. It is too much for some people, but I consider it very manly and enjoyable. And wish you guys, though, all the best in your day. And my night is over, and the shave is complete. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You guys take care. Good night.